First day in pads yesterday. It's unique now with the Guardian caps on. So many more players. You don't hear as much, but I think that's a net positive for sure. Knowing that when we cut the tape on, very physical practice on the offensive and defensive lines. Really liked what I saw at different times from both sides. Felt the pass rush, especially on some of those known passing downs, 2-minute things like that. So much learning still going on, teaching, but we're at the point now where the expectation is we are making a mistake not to be made again, or at least learned from to be able to be applied to whatever it is that we're really focusing on as we grow our installs and expand over these next few practices. Did want to, I know you guys hopefully got that. We did add Bobby McCain, super versatile veteran player. I have some experience going against Bobby, whether he played nickel, safety, corner. He's really been a versatile piece that has some great background with flow in the defense. He was able to show up early on day one and take quite a few reps at the safety position in that second group. So wildly impressive for him to be able to show up like that and roll right in with the group. So wanted to also give you guys, didn't get a chance to the other day. Lewis is dealing with a little bit of a lower leg, some soreness, little strain there. I would classify him as day-to-day. We just want Lou to, feel ready to roll and get out there with his teammates as fast as possible. You'll see him doing some work on a side field today, and then we'll get him back rolling as soon as possible. And no real update on Shaq other than he's progressing kind of how we thought early on here. Yeah, I think it all goes back to, really emphasizing that play style, identity for a team. When you talk about 53 guys, doing different jobs, 11 guys on offense and defense, it will look different. It's hard to just classify it as one thing. So I think that play style term really allows our coaches and our coordinators to really emphasize the things that they want to see. And it just so happens that I've kind of sat back and listened to a lot of those conversations amongst the players and coaches alike, and a lot of those things counteract against each other. So what that gives you is a competitive training camp where there are drill winners and losers. There are plays that we force on defense that we cannot let happen on offense, or vice versa, and then it all kind of wraps up with an exclamation point in the kicking game. But you kind of know based upon day to day, you walk off the field, did we get the value out of what the emphasis was for the day? And I would say without question we did yesterday. We'll have a shells day today before getting back into pads tomorrow. But today's a practice. We're still going. We're starting to try to really stack days in this training camp phase of this finite amount of time before we get into preseason games, joint practices, where we're really trying to grow it on a daily basis. He's just so versatile. I think that was one of the great things about Bobby coming in too, because now you have Bobby and Jay. You've got guys like Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus that can, whether it's different nickel groupings where they can be forces in the box to help fit the run, but also be, dynamic enough to be able to cover some slot receivers and things like that. And Jay, with his size and his athletic ability, we've always kind of seen him as a guy that can do a little bit of both. He did do both in the spring and had some flashes last year as well, late in the year, filling in inside for us, at the nickel spot. So I think it speaks to his versatility, but also the fact that a young player like that can handle and own the kind of information that he has to. And that's why we want to get him out there and give him some reps as we continue to see what this overall landscape of that full defensive back room will look like. Yeah, I think my assessment is, essentially how I wanted things to go early on. I mean, Sam's really taken the majority of the 1 reps. JJ's gotten some reps 2s versus 1s where he might not be out there with the 1 offense, but he's certainly seeing some of the things that will allow him to start phasing into, getting into the huddle. And we're making it almost harder than it will be when he gets into that first group. But as far as rep counts and performances so far, I think that both guys have done a lot of really, really good things, and some, more notable visually than others. But I also think both guys have made some mistakes with the football, learning mistakes where they're trying to either, see if they can squeeze a ball in over the middle before a safety can step in front, or maybe not taking a chance down the field in a one-on-one, where maybe that's our best option, and things like that. And then how we introduce the pass rush in pads now. How consistent can you be with their footwork as if it is 7-on-7, as if it is, throwing in Josh's individual or routes on air? Because that's the true test, because we can drill everything we want to do. We can build a whole plan of attack every single day, but it's got to translate at least minimally at first, and then you start building comfort as it goes. And it's not supposed to be, remember what I said, we're not chasing perfection, just the progress that you can show from, like in Sam's case, throws an interception on a third down, weighty down type play, and comes back and hits a deep ball down the field. He's done it really a couple times now in those competitive settings, and I just like the response. And then JJ, just how consistent can you be stacking as many plays, just doing your job together with the other 10 guys in the huddle, and good things are going to happen. And both of them, I would say, have done a really good job of that. You will, at some point, see JJ, be consistently maybe getting a little bit more one reps there. But at the same time, I feel like Sam earned the right to take the bulk of those reps early on here without getting into depth charts and things like that. It's just a standpoint of how we need to practice, the comfort we're trying to build for the whole group. But as far as the rep count goes, and I do want to highlight Nick Mullen's ability, while getting maybe less reps than he has previously. You guys have seen him step in almost cold, and go out and throw a ball over the middle for a big gain, or get us into the right play, and he's already demonstrated his ownership of our system as well. So I've been really positive about the QBs early on, and now we just start raising the standard every day as their comfort level rises. Yeah, I think when you start, part of it too is the install process, Kevin, where you're still trying to get through a daily install plan as we build our offense. That's what can happen early on, and defenses tend to be able to, nothing against defenses, but they tend to be able to just, have their one-word defensive calls, and they stand in one. It's all great, but they can get those things in a little faster sometimes. But as I've told our offense, no excuses. I want to see execution because of how we handled the spring, because how we handle the aspect of the teaching and learning phase. You're really not learning much new for the first time outside of new players we may add, but the expectation is we shouldn't need multiple reps of not doing things right to then get it right. We're moving along in our install. Things are starting to stack. So I think as we kind of get to a place where we figure out that sweet spot for JJ's comfort, as well as Sam's trust and understanding in what we've coached up until this point, we can start doing that as well. And I also think it'll be good for Sam, to mix in some of those other huddles besides just having, Justin and Jordan and that offensive line. And, I want to see him go in and elevate that group as well. So it's great ops, much to be overanalyzed, but a lot of work to be done for sure before we get to a place where we're ready to start, really determining what that room's going to look like. Yeah, I'm not sure where that typical 3, unless I said that at this podium, I'm not sure where that's coming from. But as far as the depth chart in that room, I think it's pretty clear and obvious. If you, like you guys do, you make the commitment to come out every day. You see, it's pretty darn even between Sam and JJ, and in many cases JJ getting a couple more here and there with our ability to add some developmental stuff in for the guys down the line. And Nick's been great. If you got a chance to sit in the quarterback room and hear some of the first person perspective that he can provide, either from his time last year, doing a lot of really good things for us, or previously working alongside Kirk hours upon hours, you've just really seen him start to really share that knowledge in a way. And I think that's where Sam's been awesome too. The dialogue between JJ and Sam and Nick and both of those two guys, and Jaron kind of highlighting where he was at, from his first exposure to the offense last year, Josh and Grant have set up a really, really healthy dynamic in that room. We've got great guys, and they're getting better every single day. So I think it's just a matter of, making sure they know the plan for the day to mentally prepare. But at the same time, I want them to understand there's going to be, different twists and turns to their rep plan based upon a design to get the best version of all four of those guys. Yeah, I think it's, what he's demonstrated over his career is he can be a really good gun runner, but he's also a really good runner in the dot and can, regardless of bigger groupings, spreading people out, he's got a great feel for, the intent of the play, what's his landmark, what's his track, and then how to pick up the blocks and the reads to be in the right spot for the sequencing. The run game, albeit much more physical to, try to get across the line of scrimmage with your guys up front and move a defensive front. The run game and pass game, as far as, the details of the rhythm of the play, the timing, at what point are we hitting that C-gap off of, a certain play where we're trying to stretch and puncture? What point are we hitting a cutback off of a certain run? How are we picking up pullers in the gap scheme world? Like, there's detail, experience, and then comfort in that to kind of live in that world where you can see a lot and execute full speed with great ball security and explode when those creases form. And Aaron can do those things. Ty has had some unbelievable runs early on in camp, really maximizing what's there. And I love the way those two guys are really playing off of each other. And then Kane, finally healthy and feeling really good. You're seeing his explosion as well. So I think that group, but Aaron, what has probably been the coolest thing is watching him and CJ really lead that group as if Aaron's been here for multiple years, and that's just the impact of the human being and leader that Aaron has, but it's also showing up on the field. Yeah, it's clear the impact he's had in the passing game. The red zone sequence on day 2. He made another big play in 2-minute yesterday. What's so great about Jalen is his versatility. He's not doing those things all from the same spot. It may be, being the F, Z, or X on any one given play, and he's got the ability to own it and then apply what we think are pretty dynamic skill sets to go do those jobs. So he just, in the passing game, needs to continue to do the things that he's off to a start doing consistently, like we've talked about, and then continue to show a willingness that he does in the run game to have that role as well, because running the football, takes all 11 guys, quarterback getting us to the right spots, right plays, timing of motions, and how we hit blocks up front. But the receivers and their ability to block on the second level are what really define, your ability to break 10-yard runs into 20 or 30-yard runs. And he's doing all those things. First day of pads yesterday, same thing as about 89 other guys on our team right now. What are you going to do today to consistently show progress and improve?
With the kicking competition, I guess what impressed you with Will Reichard, and then now that it is down to 1, how does that impact not only him but just the other specialists, the hunting competitions?
Yeah, I think it's hard to carry, especially when you get a couple injuries or have some unforeseen things happen early on in the camp. It's always hard to carry multiple specialists at those 2 or 3 spots there with obviously we feel so strongly about Depot as the long snapper, and I just felt like Will, since the time he's arrived, has demonstrated time after time that Will really is so consistent, but I just want to see him take all the kicks. And I thought Parker, as I told him, there's no question, if you tell me on any given year that there's 35 to 40 kickers kicking in the NFL after injuries and different things like that, I do believe Parker is one of them. And that's always hard when you have those types of conversations, but honesty is key. And we were able to have a really good dialogue, and hopefully he is able to do exactly what we talked about. But I think Will's ready. Now it's just a matter of kicking, getting ready, maybe take some trips over to U.S. Bank before our first preseason game and start getting a feel of, what it's going to be like. And I know he's up for it. He's done a really good job. And then I think you'll even see today we've got a couple unique things we're going to do from a standpoint of some situations in the game that will involve the punter a little bit. Do we punt? Do we go for a long field goal? Do we go for a fourth down kind of in that middle area of the field, and it's really a team drill on a less than full volume day where we're trying to kind of make sure we get great weighty work in without it being super taxing on the guys' legs. I think you guys will notice what I'm talking about, but it's a way to get them in front of our fans, you know, trying to have those critical punts and kicks that decide a lot of games in our league.
Last two.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you kind of forget sometimes that he's a rookie, just knowing the amount of information from really day one. I think we knew he was smart. We knew he had been coached really well, but then you get him here and you get him in the meeting room setting and you see how well he's handling not only basic installations that most rookies are asked to do, but you're hearing him ask some questions that are very telling about where he's able to go. And then as installations start to pick up and like they have, he hasn't missed a beat. So that's unique, you know, for a guy that to be able to step in with some of the other smart, tough football players that we added, guys we still have coming back. So that's really unique. But then Dallas loves football. So every day is a new day. He always has a smile on his face, but it's not a smile that I would recommend taking as, you know, giddy or taking things lightly. It's a smile that he has, you know, bad intentions to do some things on a daily basis. And, you know, it's one that I'm okay seeing because I get to wear a whistle and a polo shirt. But I'm just looking forward to seeing him grow and get some exposure throughout this camp and see exactly what his role is going to be. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think like as you know, as I talked about with CD, you know, in the moments and kind of hours after, you know, CD's extension, it's like, hey man, like not only can you elevate our entire group offensively, but think about how cool it's going to be as you watch Dallas Turner, you know, one-on-one against you in practice, you know, grow to be a guy that's pushing you to be better. But you've seen CD pull him aside. You see it pre-practice sometimes, and he's even showing him, hey, you shot your hand too quick, or, you know, you probably started that move a little bit too far away from me, or I never really felt speed on the initial rush before you got into it. And those are coming from one of the best left tackles in football. So, and then DT gets a rep, he gets to feel it, and obviously gets coached up by Pet and Amarje, and then right about that time, you know, the versatility kicks in and he's switching to a different spot or doing different things. But those third down rushes are really what defines those edge guys. You saw JG make a really nice rush on BO yesterday. You know, Gabe Murphy showing up time and time again early on here as a guy that's versatile in the rush game. And then as Van Ginkel works his way back in, you're talking names and numbers of guys that can truly line up in any particular spot and handle a lot of different responsibilities, which is really hard on us when you're teaching the initial phasing of your protections and your who's accountable for who. It stresses us like no other this time of year, and I always like that.
Thanks, everybody.
You sure can.
Thank you very much. Back to QBs.
Well, never mind. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Do you have a plan to play Sam in exhibition games? I know Kirkland played for he made it 6 years. And was the question started. Do you plan on trying to play at some point all four guys?
I have a very clear-cut plan of how we're going to handle the playing time of our entire team. See you guys later.
Fair enough.